Welcome back to Morning Joy, where truth matters. We're so excited to have with us an author, Catholic wife, speaker, national speaker, theologian, educator, expert in the field of liturgical life and Catholic culture, Stephanie Aquila. My goodness, thank you so much and welcome to the show and good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again for joining us this morning. So real quickly, beyond attending Mass, how can we as Catholics make our everyday lives just a little bit more sacramental?
One of the things I always recommend is to have dinner together as a family on Sunday and to make Sunday a day of rest. Like one of the things that my husband was really adamant on helping me with, he helps me to live the liturgical year too, because that Sunday is usually the day where I would do my grocery shopping. I would kind of tie up loose ends for Monday. And he's like, this is really not what God wanted when he said that we need to observe Sunday with leisure and community and praise. And I thought, yeah, you're right. So.
Yeah, that's a great point. I feel like in our culture, Saturday is the day of rest, and then Sunday is the day to do all the chores, rushing to get it done before Monday. And there's zero rest and recovery from that as you go into Monday, and it just makes it feel a little bit more stressful. So yeah, I agree. We need to get back to that. So that's really great advice. What are some practical ways to find the sacred in the ordinary?
I think it really takes being present to the moment. Like when I switched to wanting to live this lifestyle more holistically, I think it really was a matter of slowing down and recognizing what is in front of me and being present to every moment and making each moment as holy as I can, integrating prayer and not just relegating it to when I can get to it or, Sunday morning at Mass, but how can I build routines that actually help to make me holy and healthy? So, spending time together as a family, spending time praying your rosary, offering moments to God that we have to do as lay people, right? We have to go to work. We have to do the dishes. These things are a natural part of our routine, but we can sanctify those and make them devotional to God, moments of praise.
Yes. I love how you mentioned some of these things are sanctifying. And the more things are automated and doing them for us, I feel like we'll be missing a part of that sanctification. That's very interesting. So you have a new book. It's called Festive Faith. It's great. It emphasizes the importance of feasts and liturgical seasons. With that, how can celebrating these in a more intentional way deepen our faith and family life?
I think as Catholics, we've been given this really rich inheritance that the world and the community so desperately wants and needs, which is why the secular world decorates for Christmas well before Thanksgiving, is we're starved for it. But as Catholics, it's been given to us. We have this entire buffet of things that we can do to celebrate God so that life is not boring until we get to Christmas. So as we prepare for Advent, I think it's important that we kind of look at our heritage, our Catholic traditions, and say, what is it that I can practically do and engage in that will actually anchor me down into a relationship with Christ that is fitting for this season?
I really liked how you called it a buffet. So what do you think happened? Where did the disconnect come? We're now for finding that buffet again, right? With great resources like yourself and your book. But what do you think? What happened? Why are we now having to do this rediscovery of some of these liturgical living and these at least trying to live liturgically?
Well, how much time do you have, Keith? Because the decay the decay of
6 minutes and 57 seconds.
Okay, I got 6 minutes to kind of wrap up how Christian culture decayed in the West. But I think really, work life changed. We got busy. We moved further away from our little villages that we were with. The secular world, slowly started peeling away Christianity. lots of things that come with modernization. And I think we woke up one day, I think Christians and Catholics realized, like, where's my culture? Where's my lived experience? Where are those things that actually pull me out of the workaday life, out of the ordinary, to be what God wanted me to be, to live the way God wanted me to live, which is to praise.
Yeah. And I guess you mentioned the culture that essentially starts at home, and you talk a lot about the domestic church. So how can we make our homes more conducive to living liturgically?
The one thing that really helped me, because I needed the physical reminders of, like, even my home should be a holy place, a place where people can feel welcome and like they can be holy too, is to put up a home altar. And so we put that in a central location that we pass by regularly, that we use regularly. And we enthroned our home to Jesus and Mary. And so there's a prominent picture of both of them right when you walk in. We're those Catholic people. You get smacked with the big picture of Jesus as you enter the door. And I wanted that, though, for me, for my holiness, for my husband's holiness, so that we could keep Christ central, right? Like Christ as King, like we just celebrated.
That's great. Yeah, it's also a great evangelizing tool too, because you mentioned as soon as you walk into the house, you're greeted essentially by Jesus and Mary and the Holy Family there. Yeah. We recently had an exterminator come into our house and was just like, "Oh, wow." Found out that he was Catholic, so it was a great way to kind of start the conversation and just get to know someone who'd probably never get to know in general. But I'm sure there's people out there struggling. I'm one of these people with busyness and feeling like I don't have enough time to have like a rich sacramental life. So what kind of encouragements, tips, suggestions would you give to someone out there who feels like I don't have enough time to do all these things?
I think it's important to recognize that I'm not trying to add on to people's to-do lists. Sometimes they look at what I'm saying and they're like, okay, this girl's just trying to give me more and I really can't handle that. What I'm saying is, just like if you were to choose a healthy lifestyle with food and you would hopefully remove like the Chick-fil-A or whatever it is that is your weakness. I know.
Not the Chick-fil-A, no.
You would put something better in, right? It's the same thing with our spiritual life. Like, we have to be honest with ourselves and say that I'm doing things, I'm wasting time on things that are really not serving me. They're not serving my family. And we need to start replacing.
Yeah, good call. Somewhat of the same topic, and we're talking about living a sacramental life. Are there any particular sacraments, I'm curious to know, that you find are often overlooked or at least misunderstood? And how can we maybe better appreciate their significance?
I mean, I hate to keep hammering on the same one, but the Eucharist is like, I feel so sad when I look at some of these polls and research studies that are coming out that are sharing that, first it was the one that people didn't understand what the Eucharist was. And now it's, recently there was one that came out that said that people aren't even going to Mass. And I think what's central to a liturgical life is the Mass. It is the liturgy. And if we're not attending the liturgy to fill our cup with grace and praise and community and all the things that really set the tone for a lifestyle, then how can we do it backwards, right? Like, how can we do it in our daily life if we're not centered in the body and blood of Christ, which makes us the body to do these things? So to me, it's like these pieces are so obviously tied together. And one of the things I like to do is to anchor people back into receiving the Eucharist.
That's wonderful. And a way that you could, especially as we're getting closer to some of these holidays where we're inviting friends and family over, may have fallen away from the faith, having at least living liturgically, it's going to be a different experience for them for sure, especially if they haven't been to Mass in a long time. They'll be definitely greeted and kind of like you were mentioning before, kind of like a slap in the face, like, hey, welcome to our house. We're Catholic. We're practicing. Let's get you back. So I guess if it doesn't come up organically, I guess, is there any way we can prepare ourselves to maybe kind of give that little nudge to our family members that might have fallen away?
Invite. I have a lot of my own family members that don't practice and they don't want to be preached at. So I come in through the back door and I say, okay, well then come with me, hang out with me, come do this with me. There will be food. There will be all, our friends will be around. There will be all these other elements. And then when they're there, we weave things in very naturally because it's natural to us, right? And then the questions arise like, well, what is this? Why are we doing this? And they're intrigued and they're happy and they want to be happy. And I think that's the easiest way is to introduce people through joy, as you know.
That's right. Yeah. You never stop inviting, I feel like, because they may not be ready at a particular time, but they may be waiting for you to invite that one time that you may just like, I give up. So yeah, never stop. I love it. Never stop inviting. So we obviously can catch more of you, but just simply by going to hisgirlsunday.com. Anything big happening with His Girl Sunday before we end in about 30 seconds?
Just launching our new book, Festive Faith. So if you could go check that out on Ave Maria Press or on His Girl Sunday, that would be amazing.
Wonderful. It's such a great book. Stephanie, I can't thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's been wonderful.
Thanks, Keith. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And that pretty much is it for Morning Joy, where truth matters for this Tuesday edition. Now, there's obviously a couple ways we can go about moving forward. If you are listening on the radio, then you might be listening to the Holy Mass coming up next. If that is the case, please pray for us. Continue living liturgically there. Otherwise, we'll see you because we're about to transition on over to our after show clubhouse. So if you're watching, streaming live on any of the social medias, stay tuned, stay put. We'll be right on over to the after show in just a second because we're going to debrief from the show, extend the conversation a little bit probably, and just have fun with you. So if you're not on if you're not on the streaming yet, go to YouTube. I would say recommend YouTube. Search Morning Joy Radio or GRN online, and you'll find us and our great community. Otherwise, this is us parting ways for Tuesday. Make sure to make it a great and joyful Tuesday. We'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning, Wednesday, 6 a.m. Central, 7 a.m. Eastern. And we'll see you here on Morning Joy, where truth matters.
This has been Morning Joy, where truth matters, hosted by Keith Downey. Take some joy with you today. Visit grnonline.com/joy to listen again, share a segment, or answer the question of the day. That's grnonline.com/joy.